Welcome to Zoe Stories. Caught stealing. Now I'm the store manager's pretty helper. The hum of fluorescent lights filled the small convenience store, mingling with the low murmur of shoppers and the faint squeak of the automatic doors. I stood frozen at the edge of the candy aisle, heart hammering so loudly I was sure anyone could hear it. My fingers twitched, craving the thrill I shouldn't be feeling, the thrill of taking something that wasn't mine. I'd always been quiet, the kind of guy people barely noticed, blending into the background like wallpaper. My parents rarely paid attention, my friends didn't exist, and I'd become skilled at hiding in plain sight. But today the isolation gnawed at me, whispering that maybe I deserved just a small taste of rebellion. I scanned the aisle. No one was watching. The store clerk, an older man with thinning hair, was busy rearranging candy bars at the counter. My eyes fell on the small, sleek gadget I'd been dreaming about for months. It was expensive, more than I could ever afford on my part-time job, but right here, within reach. I reached for it, hands shaking, and slid it into my pocket. My pulse skyrocketed, a mix of fear and exhilaration that made my stomach flip. Just a simple lift, nothing more. No one would ever know. But fate, as it always does, had other plans. A sharp, cold voice cut through my euphoria. "Excuse me, what do you think you're doing?" I froze. My stomach plummeted. The words hit me harder than a fist. Turning slowly, I met eyes with the store manager. She was stunning, tall, with sharp features and an aura of authority that made my knees weak. Her dark hair was perfectly styled, her outfit immaculate, a mix of elegance and dominance that made me feel suddenly small and exposed. And her eyes, those piercing eyes, like twin lasers, saw right through me, through my excuses, through my cowardice. I tried to mumble something. Anything. It's not what it. She stepped closer, the click of her heels echoing in the quiet aisle. "Don't bother lying. I saw you. Now we have a problem." My mind raced. Panic clawed at me, a cold, suffocating grip. I can pay for it. She raised a perfectly manicured finger. "Oh no, sweetheart. That's not enough. You took something that doesn't belong to you. And now, you're going to make this right my way." Her voice was soft, almost seductive, but there was an unmistakable steel underneath. My chest tightened. "What do you mean?" I stammered, my voice small, shaky. A slow, dangerous smile curved her lips. "You'll help me, for a week, in the store. But not just as yourself. No, that wouldn't be nearly as effective. You'll help me as my little pretty helper." The words hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. My mind recoiled. My mouth went dry. I can't." She laughed softly, the sound both intoxicating and cruel. "Oh, but you can. And you will. Or, well, let's just say there are consequences for stubbornness." I felt my knees weaken, panic and humiliation rising in equal measure. The thought of being seen, exposed, dressed as a girl made my face burn. And yet, a tiny, forbidden spark of curiosity stirred deep inside me, confusing and frightening. "Why, you're serious?" I whispered, barely able to form the words. Her smile widened. "Deadly serious. You want to make this right, don't you? Then you'll do exactly as I say. Start tomorrow. Full transformation. You'll be beautiful. Trust me, you'll thank me in the end." My mind screamed in protest, but fear and something darker, something almost thrilling, kept my body rooted in place. The aisle felt narrower, the air heavier, and the small gadget in my pocket suddenly insignificant compared to the whirlwind of emotions swirling inside me. And then she leaned closer, her lips almost brushing my ear. "Look at it this way, you have a chance to finally be noticed. To finally be seen." Her words sent shivers down my spine. I could feel her control, subtle but absolute, pressing against my mind. My protests died in my throat. I was trapped. All I could do was nod. And in that moment, my life changed forever. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her, the store manager, leaning close, her voice soft yet commanding, repeating the words that would haunt me for weeks. "You'll help me as my little pretty helper." The morning sunlight felt harsh against my skin as I trudged toward the store, my stomach twisted into knots. My pride screamed at me to turn around, to run far away, to pretend none of this had happened. But the cold, calculated logic of fear kept my feet moving. I had stolen. I had been caught. And she had made it clear there would be consequences if I tried to escape. As soon as I entered the store, she was waiting, arms crossed, her eyes sharp like a predator. The moment I saw her, the full weight of reality slammed into me. This wasn't some petty punishment. This wasn't just a week of chores. No, this was something far more invasive. "Good morning," she said, her voice deceptively sweet. "I see you've decided to honor our little agreement." I swallowed hard. I didn't really have a choice," I muttered, my throat tight. Her smile widened, but it was laced with amusement and authority. "Choice is an illusion, my dear. You either obey or face the alternative." The alternative. My mind raced. What could she possibly do to me beyond public humiliation, beyond exposure? The very thought made my stomach turn. I had no idea how far she was willing to go, but I was about to find out. She stepped closer, her perfume enveloping me, a mix of vanilla and something musky that made my pulse spike. "Now, let's discuss what you'll be doing. You'll be assisting me in the store, yes, but not in your boring, invisible way. No, you'll be seen, noticed, and dressed accordingly." I shook my head, panic rising. "Dressed how?" Her gaze softened just slightly, like a cat toying with its prey. "Pretty, darling. Beautiful. Feminine. You'll wear the uniforms, the makeup, everything. You'll look like my perfect little assistant, and you'll act like one too." The words felt like ice down my spine. I couldn't imagine it. My lanky, awkward body, forced into tight skirts, delicate blouses, and makeup that highlighted features I'd always despised in myself. And yet, beneath the terror, a strange, confusing flutter stirred in my chest. She circled me slowly, examining every inch of my posture, my expression, my hesitation. "I know it's overwhelming," she said softly, "but think of it as an opportunity. You've never been noticed, have you? Not really. Not for who you could be. And maybe, just maybe, you'll like the attention. You'll like being beautiful." I swallowed hard, shaking my head in disbelief. I'm not. "You're going to be," she interrupted firmly, placing a hand on my shoulder. Her touch was light, but it burned with authority. "You'll obey me. You'll do exactly as I say. And if you try to resist, well, let's just say the consequences will be memorable." Her eyes bored into mine, and I felt the last of my defiance crumble. Pride, dignity, masculinity, they all seemed to vanish under her gaze. I nodded slowly, barely able to speak. "Oh, okay. Good," she said, a dangerous gleam in her eyes. "Tomorrow we start. Don't think you'll get a second chance." She handed me a small, neatly folded package, a uniform, delicate and feminine. My fingers trembled as I held it. Satin, lace, silk, things I had never imagined wearing. My heart raced as I realized the scope of what I was about to experience. "You'll change in the back," she continued. "I'll guide you through every step. Makeup, hair, posture, speech. Everything. You'll be perfect. And don't worry," she added, leaning close, "I'll enjoy watching you struggle." My stomach sank, but a strange heat pooled in my chest, a confusing mix of shame, fear, and anticipation. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. And, somehow, I wanted to see if she was right. As I left the store that day, carrying the uniform like a guilty secret, I couldn't stop shaking. My mind was a whirlwind of doubt, fear, and inexplicable curiosity. Tomorrow, she promised. Tomorrow, everything would change. Would I survive it? Could I endure being seen, exposed, and transformed? Or would I break completely under her control? The thought was terrifying, and, somehow, exhilarating. That night, I stood in front of my mirror at home, staring at my reflection. The uniform lay on my bed, innocent yet sinister. I couldn't stop imagining her guiding my hands, my lips, my posture, turning me into someone I barely recognized. And for the first time, a small, guilty part of me wondered, what if I secretly wanted it? The next morning, I found myself standing outside the store, my stomach twisting in knots. The uniform she had given me the day before burned in my backpack like a forbidden secret. I tried to breathe deeply, telling myself I could do this, that I would survive a week. But as soon as the store doors swung open, my courage faltered. She was waiting, impeccably dressed as always, arms crossed and eyes glinting with that same cruel, intoxicating mix of amusement and control. "Morning, darling," she said, her tone sugary sweet. "Ready to begin?" I nodded, though my voice failed me. My palms were slick with sweat, and I could feel my pulse in my throat. She led me to the back room, a small, pristine space with a large mirror, shelves of accessories, and a single chair in the center. "Sit," she commanded, and I obeyed immediately, feeling the weight of her authority pressing down on me. The room was silent except for the faint hum of the overhead light. She placed the uniform on the chair beside me and began laying out other items: stockings, delicate panties, a blouse, a skirt, and shoes that looked impossibly small. Each piece was more feminine, more alien to me than the last. "This," she said softly, "is the start of your transformation, step by step. And don't worry, I'll guide you." Her voice was soothing, but I could feel the underlying threat. Any hesitation, any resistance, would be punished. I swallowed hard, my stomach twisting with fear and anticipation. "First," she continued, "we begin with the basics. Shaving. You'll be smooth, delicate. Every part of you." I froze. I can't." "Yes, you can," she interrupted sharply. "You'll do exactly as I say." Her hands were gentle yet firm as she guided mine to the razor, showing me the strokes, correcting my tremors. The sensation was terrifying, intimate, and humiliating all at once. I could feel my cheeks burning as she watched every movement, her eyes appraising, critical, and approving when I finally managed a smooth patch. "Good," she said, smiling in a way that made my chest ache. "You see? It's not so bad. In fact, you're doing beautifully." Next came the makeup. My hands shook as she handed me brushes, creams, and palettes. She coached me through foundation, blush, eyeliner, mascara, and lipstick. Each stroke felt unnatural, exposing my inexperience and awkwardness. I felt ridiculous. Yet, as I stared into the mirror, I couldn't deny a strange thrill. My reflection, softened, enhanced, unfamiliar, was becoming beautiful. And her praise, her approving eyes, made a part of me ache in ways I didn't understand. "Your hair," she said, guiding my fingers through the strands, "needs to be perfect. Curl, style, and frame your face. Look at yourself in the mirror. You're becoming her. You're becoming pretty." I shivered. "Pretty," I whispered, tasting the word like something forbidden. "Yes," she said, her voice both gentle and commanding. "Say it. You are pretty. Say it to yourself." I hesitated, the words feeling strange and alien on my tongue. "I'm pretty," I finally murmured. She smiled, leaning closer. "Good. You see? It's not so bad to be admired, to be seen, to be beautiful." Then came the clothing. She helped me into the stockings, adjusting the delicate fabric over my trembling legs. The panties, snug and unfamiliar, made me acutely aware of my body. The skirt and blouse hugged my frame, transforming me into someone I barely recognized. "You're perfect," she said softly, her fingers brushing against my cheek. I felt heat crawl up my neck, embarrassment, and an unexplainable thrill mingling into something I didn't dare name. Finally, the shoes. Heels. I wobbled at first, struggling to balance, each step a lesson in humility. She guided me, holding my hand at first, then letting go as I slowly gained a tentative confidence. Every step, every movement, was an assault on my old identity, but also, strangely, a liberation. She stepped back, arms crossed, studying me in the mirror. "Look at her," she said, voice filled with approval and dominance. "Isn't she beautiful?" I stared at the reflection, at the delicate curves, the softened features, the carefully painted face. I barely recognized the person staring back at me. Shame, humiliation, and an odd, confusing sense of pride tangled inside me. "You're going to wear this in the store today," she continued. "Every customer, every coworker will see you like this. And you will obey my instructions perfectly. Any mistake will have consequences." I swallowed hard, nodding, feeling the weight of her words settle deep in my chest. She smiled, almost tenderly. "Don't worry. You'll get used to it. And, who knows, you might even enjoy it." The thought made me flinch, my pulse quickening. Enjoy it? Could I? Should I? I didn't have time to answer. The first customer walked into the store, and she gestured for me to stand. My legs wobbled, my hands trembled, but I took a deep breath and stepped forward. As I emerged into the store, fully transformed, the fluorescent lights highlighted every detail of my new appearance. Every eye seemed to land on me, some curious, some amused. And then someone familiar entered the aisle. My heart froze. Would they recognize me? Would my secret be exposed in an instant? My legs trembled as I stepped fully into the store, heels clicking loudly against the polished floor. Every eye seemed to fix on me, though I tried desperately to shrink into myself. My heart pounded so violently I was certain everyone could hear it. The uniform, feminine, tight, perfectly styled, felt like armor and prison all at once. The manager's eyes followed me, sharp and assessing. "Remember," she said softly, almost teasingly. "Posture. Voice. Smile. You're my assistant now, and everyone must see you as such." I swallowed, trying to steady my breath. I forced my shoulders back, lifted my chin, and whispered, "Yes, ma'am." My voice, higher than usual, sounded alien to my own ears. The first customer approached, a middle-aged woman looking impatient and skeptical. My palms were slick as I tried to offer assistance. Hello, can I help you find anything?" The woman raised an eyebrow, glancing me over. "Oh, well, aren't you different?" Her eyes lingered on my carefully applied makeup and the smooth lines of my skirt. My stomach flipped with embarrassment. I wanted to disappear. The manager's presence was constant behind me, guiding silently with a look or a tilt of her head. Her control pressed into me, reminding me that one wrong move could expose my secret, or worse. I struggled through the first hour, offering directions, answering questions, and balancing trays of products. Every time I bent, turned, or reached, I felt a strange self-consciousness, as if the world was watching my every move, and in a way, it was. A small incident made my heart seize. A customer's child tugged at my skirt, laughing. "Look at her shoes," he giggled, pointing at my heels. I froze, cheeks flaming. The manager stepped in instantly, her voice sharp yet controlled. "Be polite, darling. Smile. And remember, you're perfect. Don't let anyone see doubt." I nodded quickly, forcing a smile I didn't feel. Inside, I was a whirlwind of shame, fear, and a strange, rising awareness of how people's attention made me feel, awkward, embarrassed, and somehow alive. By lunchtime, my knees ached from the heels, my stomach twisted in anxiety, and my mind was a storm of conflicting emotions. Yet I was surviving. And perhaps, in the strangest way, enjoying the sensation of being seen, of being called pretty by the manager when I stumbled and apologized. Then, the moment that would haunt me forever happened. A man entered the aisle, familiar. My chest froze. Recognition flared in my mind. Could he know me? My old life? My shame? He paused, scanning the store, and then his eyes landed on me. My heart lurched. Was this the moment my secret would be exposed? The manager noticed my tension and leaned close, whispering in my ear, "Relax. Remember your role. Pretend, smile, and she will be perfect." I forced a nod, even as panic surged inside me. My hands shook as I guided the man toward a display, keeping my tone soft, polite, feminine. And in that moment, A strange thrill coursed through me, a dangerous, addictive mix of fear, humiliation, and pleasure. The man lingered, smiling politely at me. I could feel his eyes tracing every line, every curve, and I hated myself for the small shiver it sent down my spine. The manager watched silently, her lips curving in satisfaction. "See," she whispered, "you're doing wonderfully. Already, they notice you. Already, they admire you." I wanted to hate her. I wanted to run. But I couldn't. I was trapped in the web she had spun, forced into this feminine mask, exposed to the world, and secretly starting to enjoy the attention. The rest of the afternoon blurred into a series of small humiliations and successes, smiling too much, bending in the wrong way, tripping slightly in the heels, and being gently corrected by the manager. Each correction, each whispered word, forced me further into her control, breaking down my old identity piece by piece. By the time the store closed, I was exhausted. My feet throbbed, my face ached from smiling and maintaining the feminine persona, and my mind was a swirl of shame, fear, and unspoken curiosity. And then the manager handed me a small mirror. "Look at her," she said softly, almost reverently. "Your first day. Do you see what you've become?" I stared at the reflection, my face, softened by makeup, my body molded by feminine clothing, my posture carefully perfected. I barely recognized the person staring back. My heart twisted in shame, humiliation, and something I dared not name. As I left the store that evening, my reflection in the car window caught my eye. For a moment, I almost didn't know if I was looking at myself or at someone else entirely. And then my phone buzzed. A message from someone from my past. "I think I saw you today in the store." My chest froze. Could my secret truly be safe? Or was my entire new identity about to crumble in an instant? The next morning, I woke with a strange mix of dread and anticipation. My muscles ached from the heels, my face still tingled from the makeup, and my mind was replaying every glance, every whisper from the previous day. The manager's words echoed in my head. "You're doing wonderfully, but this is only the beginning." As I arrived at the store, she was waiting with a new, unsettling intensity. Her gaze swept over me, appraising, assessing, and already imagining the next step in my transformation. "Good morning, darling," she said, voice smooth and commanding. "Today, we take the next step. You're going to lose the last traces of your old self." I swallowed hard, my stomach tightening. "What do you mean?" She gestured to a small, neatly arranged table in the back room. On it lay razors, clippers, voice training manuals, stockings, and more makeup than I had ever seen in my life. "First," she said, her voice low, almost teasing, "we remove the hair that marks you as male. You'll be smooth from head to toe. Every inch." I froze, panic rising. I don't think I can." "You can," she interrupted sharply, her eyes flashing with authority. "And you will. Or we'll find another way to make sure you comply." Her words hit me like a cold wave. I nodded, voice barely a whisper. "Okay." The process was excruciating. The razor grazed my skin in places that had never been touched in such an intimate way. My body shivered with every stroke, humiliation and fear tangled with a strange, unfamiliar thrill. She watched closely, correcting my trembling hands, guiding every movement. "You're doing beautifully," she murmured when I finally finished. "See? It's not so bad to be smooth, delicate, feminine." Next came the voice training. She had me repeat soft, higher-pitched phrases, correcting every syllable, every tone. My voice cracked, faltered, and sounded ridiculous to my own ears. But each correction, each gentle nudge from her, pushed me further into her control. "Good," she said after what felt like hours. "You're starting to sound like her. Like a girl. Like someone people will admire." Then came the clothing. New outfits, tighter, more feminine, more exposing. Every layer seemed designed to strip away my old identity, forcing me to feel the curves, the softness, the foreign weight of feminine fabrics against my skin. "You see," she whispered, adjusting the skirt at my waist, "you're beautiful. And the world will see it too. Soon, no one will remember the boy you used to be. I flinched, heart aching. A strange, unwanted flutter stirred in my chest. Embarrassment, humiliation, and something darker. Could I feel pleasure in this? Could I start to enjoy the attention, the control, the way she molded me? By afternoon, she had me walking through the store, interacting with customers and practicing posture, speech, and gestures. Each mistake, each falter, was met with gentle correction, or sharp teasing. The balance between kindness and cruelty kept me on edge, desperate to please, terrified of exposure, and increasingly aware of how my body and mind were changing. A colleague, a young man, passed by and raised an eyebrow, smirking. "New assistant?" he asked casually. I nodded, cheeks flaming. "Why, yes." The manager's gaze met mine, sharp and approving. "See," she said softly. "People notice. They admire. And you're learning how to be her. Beautiful, delicate, perfect." By the end of the day, the last traces of my old male habits, my unpracticed posture, careless speech, sloppy movements, were fading. I was beginning to internalize her corrections, her expectations, her manipulations. I could feel the subtle changes in how I walked, how I held my hands, how I spoke. I was losing my male privileges and slowly, terrifyingly, learning to embrace my new feminine identity. As I stared into the mirror that evening, my reflection no longer looked like the boy I had been. The familiar face was gone, replaced by soft curves, delicate features, and eyes that seemed different. And in the back of my mind, a chilling thought grew. Am I already forgetting who I was? That night, I couldn't sleep. My room felt smaller, tighter somehow, as if the walls were pressing in to remind me of the changes I'd undergone. I kept replaying the day in my mind, the smooth legs, the soft voice, the careful posture, the way customers looked at me, the way my own reflection in the store mirror had seemed almost alive. I pulled the covers tight, but even under their safety, I couldn't hide from the reflection that haunted me. Slowly, almost reluctantly, I sat in front of my full-length mirror. My eyes traced every line, every curve, every delicate detail that had been forced onto me. It was me.
And it wasn't me.
The face staring back was softer, framed by carefully styled hair. My eyes looked larger, brighter, framed with dark lashes I'd never had before. My lips were tinted a delicate pink, fuller than I remembered. My body, slimmed and molded by the feminine clothing I'd worn all day, was alien in every sense. I touched my cheek with a trembling hand. It was soft,
Smooth.
feminine. My heartbeat quickened, a confusing mixture of fear and fascination. I wanted to look away, to reject this reflection, to reclaim the boy I had been, but I couldn't. The door creaked behind me, and she was there, leaning against the frame, arms crossed and eyes gleaming. "Admiring yourself, darling?" she asked, her voice silky but commanding. I jumped, my pulse spiking. I couldn't find words. She stepped closer, placing a gentle hand on my shoulder. "It's okay," she whispered. "Look at her, your new self. Isn't she beautiful?" I shook my head, embarrassed and angry at myself for the flutter in my chest. I don't know if I am." She smiled, almost cruelly. "You are. And soon, you'll stop questioning it. Every time you look in a mirror, every time someone calls you pretty, every time you wear these clothes, you'll start believing it. And believing it is half the battle." I backed away slightly, the rational part of my mind screaming at me. This isn't me. This can't be me. I'm still a boy. I'm still. But the reflection refused to lie. Every feature, every line, every motion of my body screamed otherwise. My hands brushed the skirt at my hips, and a strange warmth spread through me, igniting a confusion I wasn't ready to face. "You see," she continued, voice soft and dangerous, "you're learning to love her. To love being noticed. To love being beautiful. And don't worry, it's natural to feel conflicted. That conflict? That hesitation? It's part of becoming her completely." Her words struck deep, leaving me trembling. I wanted to push her away, to reclaim the boy I'd been, but my body betrayed me. A shiver ran down my spine, and I realized with a growing horror and fascination that part of me enjoyed the attention, the femininity, the way she controlled every aspect of me. I looked back into the mirror. The reflection stared, unyielding, undeniable.
Who was I?
The boy I had been, hiding in the shadows, or this delicate, obedient, undeniably pretty version of myself that she had forged? A tear slid down my cheek, and I brushed it away quickly, ashamed. My mind spun with guilt, fear, humiliation, and a quiet, confusing thrill. She leaned closer, placing her hands lightly on my shoulders. "Beautiful, isn't she?" she whispered again, tilting my chin so I had no choice but to meet my reflection. "Look at her and accept her. She's your future. And whether you admit it or not, you want her." I swallowed hard, unable to deny the truth rising in me. The reflection wasn't just a disguise anymore. It was becoming a part of me. Every curve, every soft gesture, every whispered compliment had started to overwrite the boy I'd been. And the worst and most terrifying part was that I didn't entirely hate it. As she stepped back and left me staring at the mirror, a chilling thought settled in my mind. If I keep going down this path, will I even remember who I used to be? The reflection smiled back at me. I wasn't sure if it was her or me. The next morning, I arrived at the store, my stomach a storm of nerves. The heels clicked sharply against the tile, the skirt swishing with every step. My reflection in the glass doors made me flinch. Her gaze seemed to follow me, judging, daring me to fully accept what I had become. The manager was already in the back room, waiting with that sharp, calculating smile. "Good morning, darling," she purred. "Today, we'll practice charm. You're going to meet someone who might make your heart flutter, but don't let him know who you used to be." I froze. My pulse spiked.
Someone?
My mind raced with dread and curiosity.
Who could it be?
By mid-morning, a young man entered the store, tall, kind-faced, and surprisingly attentive. He glanced around, and his eyes landed on me. My heart skipped a beat as he smiled politely. "Hi," he said, his voice warm. "I've seen you here before, haven't I?" I swallowed hard, forcing a sweet, high-pitched voice. "Why, yes.
I
work here now. How can I help you?" The manager hovered behind me, eyes gleaming. "Remember," she whispered, soft, sweet, attentive. "You're her now. He must only see her." The young man laughed lightly at something I said, and my stomach fluttered with a strange, confusing warmth. He was kind, patient, and his attention, it was intoxicating. I could feel myself leaning into the role, my voice softening, my gestures delicate. Every compliment, every polite smile, made a tiny crack appear in the walls of my old identity. By lunch, we were laughing at small jokes, discussing mundane things, books, music, the weather. His eyes sparkled with genuine interest. And the more I interacted with him, the more I realized how far I'd fallen under the manager's spell. A small, guilty thrill surged as he called me beautiful for the first time. The word made my chest ache in ways I didn't understand. Shame, embarrassment, and a dangerous hint of pleasure mingled, twisting into a confusion that left me dizzy. The manager watched silently, her smile small but knowing. "See," she whispered. "He notices. He admires. And you're learning to accept it." I shook my head internally, fighting the warmth in my chest. This isn't real. I'm still a boy. I can't feel this way. But the reflection in the store window told a different story. Soft curves, painted lips, and delicate gestures that made his attention unavoidable. By mid-afternoon, we were sitting together near the store display, discussing his favorite films. He reached out, brushing a stray strand of hair behind my ear. My cheeks flamed. Every instinct screamed to recoil, to reclaim the boy I had been, but I couldn't. My body responded against my will, the manager's words echoing in my mind. "You want her." I glanced at her from across the room. She was leaning against the counter, arms crossed, eyes sharp and approving. She had orchestrated this moment perfectly, forcing me into femininity, pushing me toward admiration, and now letting a male presence stir emotions I wasn't ready to face. By the time he left, he gave me a small smile, a subtle wink, and said, "See you tomorrow, pretty lady." My knees nearly gave way. Pretty lady. My reflection in the mirror that evening seemed to smirk knowingly back at me. Shame, humiliation, and a strange longing churned in my chest. I hated how much that simple phrase had affected me, how much I wanted it, even as my mind screamed that it was wrong. The manager stepped behind me, her hands brushing my shoulders. "Do you see, darling? You're already enchanting him, already becoming her. And tomorrow we'll take it further." I shivered, half in fear, half in a growing, dangerous curiosity. My reflection in the mirror seemed less like a stranger now, and more like a person I was starting to understand, or perhaps starting to become. That night, I couldn't sleep. My thoughts kept returning to him, his smile, his words, his eyes. And then a chilling realization struck me. What if I start wanting this more than I want to be myself? The reflection in my mirror didn't answer. It only watched. The following morning, I arrived at the store, my stomach twisted into knots. Today was different. The manager had promised a public performance, and my imagination ran wild with every terrifying possibility. Would customers notice? Would someone recognize me? Would I crumble under the pressure? The manager was waiting, impeccably dressed, her eyes sharp and commanding. "Good morning, darling," she purred. "Today, you'll interact with every customer in your full feminine role. No hiding, no slouching, no mistakes. Every movement, every word must be perfect." I swallowed hard, gripping the hem of my skirt. I'll try," I whispered, my voice higher than usual, trembling. "Try," she said sharply, stepping closer.
No, darling.
"You will be perfect, and you will enjoy it." My heart lurched at her words. Enjoy it?
Could I?
Should I? She handed me a clipboard and gestured to the front of the store. "Every interaction is a test. Smile, speak softly, bend delicately, assist with charm. Remember, everyone is watching her now, you." The first customer approached, a group of teenagers giggling as they browsed. I forced a polite smile, extending my hand to help. My heels wobbled slightly as I guided them to the items they needed, voice soft, gestures delicate. I could feel their eyes on me, noticing everything. My chest burned, my palms were slick with sweat, and a strange heat pooled in my stomach. The manager hovered nearby, eyes assessing, correcting, approving. "Good, darling," she whispered when I adjusted my posture.
See?
"You're doing beautifully." A little further into the day, a middle-aged woman approached, her eyes sharp. "You're quite delicate," she said, glancing me over. "Are you new here?" "Yes," I chirped, voice high and sweet. "I just started. How may I assist you today?" The woman smiled faintly, leaning closer to examine my features. "You have a very feminine presence. Very lovely." I froze, cheeks flaming, heart hammering. The words felt like fire, heating me from the inside. I glanced at the manager, whose eyes sparkled with satisfaction. She leaned closer, whispering in my ear, "You see? They notice. They admire. And you're learning to accept it." Hours passed in a blur of customer interactions, bending, smiling, assisting, walking in heels, and maintaining a delicate, feminine posture. Every correction, every whispered command from the manager drove me deeper into her control. The line between fear and pleasure blurred, humiliation twisting into an intoxicating, confusing thrill. Then, the moment I dreaded came, a familiar voice, sharp and disbelieving, called out from the front of the store. "Is that him?" I froze. My heart stopped. Customers glanced, curiosity spreading like wildfire. Could someone from my past have recognized me? My knees threatened to buckle. The manager appeared at my side, voice low and commanding. "Stay calm. Smile. Be her. No one will know." I forced a delicate smile, body stiff, trying to mask the terror in my chest. Every muscle screamed to run, to remove the heels, the skirt, the makeup, the entire mask. But the manager's hand on my shoulder reminded me resistance was futile. Obedience was the only option. I moved forward, speaking softly, bending slightly, helping the customer while keeping my eyes down. The thrill of being seen, the humiliation of being exposed, and the intoxicating praise of the manager twisted inside me, leaving me dizzy, confused, and unwillingly addicted to the attention. By the end of the day, I was exhausted. Every step, every word, every smile had been a test, a performance, a submission. My body ached, my mind spun, and yet a small, guilty part of me wanted to do it again. That night, staring into my mirror, I saw her reflection, the perfect assistant, the delicate girl everyone admired. And somewhere deep inside, a terrifying thought whispered, maybe I don't want to go back to being him. The next morning, I awoke to a mixture of dread and anticipation. My body still ached from the previous day's performance, heels leaving faint bruises on my ankles, makeup still lingering faintly on my skin. And yet a small, undeniable flutter of excitement coursed through me. The manager was waiting in the back room, impeccably dressed, arms crossed, eyes gleaming with calculated intent. "Good morning, darling," she purred. "Today, we take another step. Obedience isn't enough. You'll learn to submit, fully and willingly. Only then can you truly become her." I swallowed hard, heart pounding. "I'll do my best," I whispered. Her smile was sharp, almost predatory. "Your best? No, darling. You will obey. And you will enjoy it, or you'll learn the consequences." She handed me a small, delicate notebook filled with instructions. Every gesture, every word, every glance, follow these meticulously. You'll repeat them until perfection. And while you do, you'll learn what it feels like to truly belong in this role. For hours, she guided me through posture, voice modulation, walking in heels, and delicate hand gestures. She corrected every falter with soft whispers or sharp commands, always close enough for me to feel the heat of her presence, the weight of her control. At one point, I stumbled slightly, almost tipping in the heels. The manager's hand steadied me, fingers brushing against my arm. "Careful, darling," she said softly. "You must learn to trust me." Trust her. Obedience isn't punishment, it's liberation. The word struck a nerve. Liberation? I felt humiliation twisting into something I couldn't name. My cheeks burned, my pulse raced, and a strange shiver ran down my spine. Later, she had me practice bending and reaching in front of the mirror, correcting my posture and movements. "Every motion must be feminine, delicate, precise," she instructed. "Notice how your reflection responds. See how she moves. Become her." I stared at the reflection, the soft curves, the painted lips, the delicate hands. A part of me recoiled. This isn't me. And yet, another part ached, craving the approval, the attention, the carefully orchestrated praise. "You're doing wonderfully," she whispered as I struggled to maintain the pose. "Do you feel it, darling? That thrill? That tension? That strange pleasure? It's your body learning to belong. Your mind learning to obey." My chest ached, my cheeks burned, and a trembling heat pooled between my legs. Humiliation, fear, and an unexplainable longing twisted together, leaving me dizzy and disoriented. By the end of the session, I was exhausted, knees weak, and mind spinning. She handed me a small mirror. "Look at her," she said softly. "Your submission isn't weakness. It's transformation. And every time you see her, you'll want to please her more." I stared at the reflection. Her, not me. My old self seemed distant, almost unreal. And yet, the thought of returning to that boy felt impossible. As I left the back room, she whispered one final thing. "Tomorrow you'll meet someone who will admire her and test how much she truly belongs in this world." My heart lurched. Admire her? Test her? Fear and anticipation twisted together in my chest. What awaited me next? The next day, the store seemed alive in a different way. I felt the weight of every glance, every whisper, every footstep more acutely than ever. The manager had prepared me meticulously. Perfect posture, soft voice, delicate gestures, but the thought of facing him again made my chest twist. He entered mid-morning, casual yet attentive. His eyes immediately found me, and my heart lurched. I forced a polite smile, hands folded demurely in front of me. The manager's gaze lingered on me for a moment, approving, almost predatory. "Remember, darling," she whispered, "he must only see her."
Not you.
Her. I nodded, trembling slightly. My voice felt lighter, higher, almost alien as I greeted him. Hello. Welcome back." He smiled warmly, stepping closer, eyes glinting with curiosity. "You're even prettier than yesterday," he said softly. "I don't know what it is, but something about you, it's mesmerizing." Heat flared in my chest, shame and excitement tangled together. I lowered my gaze, cheeks burning, trying to hide the shiver that ran through me. The manager watched silently from across the room, lips curved in satisfaction. We spent the next hour discussing products, comparing recommendations, and sharing small jokes. Every compliment from him, every laugh, every lingering glance pierced through me. I hated how much I wanted to please him, how desperately I wanted to be admired, how intoxicating the attention felt. At one point, he reached out, brushing a stray lock of hair behind my ear. My body stiffened, pulse racing, and a warmth I didn't understand flooded me. My mind screamed, "This is wrong. He can't know." But the reflection in the store window reminded me of another truth. He was looking at her, not me. And part of me craved that. The manager approached quietly, her hand brushing my shoulder.
See?
He admires her. He notices her. And you're learning to belong in her world. Every glance, every touch, every word makes it harder to remember the boy you were. I shook slightly, my knees weak. The heat in my chest was suffocating, mingled with embarrassment and a strange, forbidden thrill. I was trapped between two identities, the boy I had been, fading fast, and the girl I was becoming, undeniable and intoxicating. By the time he left, he whispered one final compliment over his shoulder. "See you tomorrow? Beautiful." I froze, the word echoing in my mind. Beautiful. Every inch of me ached with shame and longing. My reflection in the mirror that night seemed almost alive, smiling knowingly, whispering, "She is yours now. You belong to her." I sank onto my bed, trembling, trying to reconcile the conflicting emotions raging inside me. Fear, humiliation, desire, and the growing, terrifying pleasure of being admired as her. As I stared at my reflection, the manager's words echoed ominously. "Tomorrow, you will be tested further, and there will be no escape from her world." That evening, I felt a storm inside me I couldn't escape. My reflection in the mirror no longer seemed foreign. It was me, yet not me. The boy I had been was fading with every glance, every compliment, every touch, every correction from the manager. She entered quietly, her presence filling the room like an unspoken command. "Darling," she whispered, voice soft but sharp. "Tonight you face the final step. You will see how deep your transformation truly runs. You will either surrender completely or cling desperately to the boy you once were. And I think I already know your answer." My heart pounded. I don't know if I can." She silenced me with a finger pressed lightly to my lips.
Sure.
No words, only obedience. Hours passed in a haze of whispered instructions, posture corrections, voice modulation, and delicate movement practice. Every misstep was noted, every falter corrected. My body ached, my mind spun, and yet a strange, forbidden thrill coursed through me with every word she whispered, every hand that adjusted my hair or guided my movement. She finally led me to the mirror, tilting my chin so I could not look away. "Look at her," she commanded. "Really look. Not the boy. Not yourself. Her. Your new self. And accept her. All of her." I stared. The reflection was perfect. Soft curves, painted lips, delicate hands, confident yet submissive posture. My cheeks burned, my chest tightened, and my pulse raced with shame and something dangerously close to pleasure. "Do you see her?" she asked, her voice low, coaxing. "She is everything you are becoming. Every day, every glance, every action brings you closer to her. And soon you won't even remember the boy." A tear slid down my cheek. I wanted to scream, to run, to reclaim my old identity, but my body refused. It ached to obey, to be molded, to be noticed, to be admired. "You belong to her now," she whispered, hands resting lightly on my shoulders. "And she belongs to the world. Every admirer, every compliment, every glance reinforces her. And you'll learn to love it. Because resisting is exhausting. Submitting is freedom." I trembled, mind and body dissolving into a whirlwind of fear, shame, humiliation, and desire. The reflection stared back, unyielding, undeniable. The boy I had been was a memory, distant and fading. And somewhere deep inside, I felt a shiver of agreement, reluctant acknowledgement. She was me. As she stepped back and left me staring at the mirror, a text appeared on my phone. "I saw her today. She's even more beautiful than I imagined." My heart stopped. Someone else had noticed her. Someone from my past, or a new admirer. And in that instant I realized the world now knew her and I couldn't hide. The next morning, I awoke with a familiar mixture of dread and anticipation. The heels felt heavier, the skirt tighter, the makeup almost second skin. Each step toward the store was a reminder. I was no longer the boy I had been. The manager met me at the door, her eyes gleaming with that sharp, calculating satisfaction. "Darling," she purred, "today, the world will see her. Everyone will notice, and you'll have no choice but to perform flawlessly. Every glance, every word, every gesture is a test. Are you ready?" I nodded, stomach twisting. "Ready?
No.
But I have no choice." The morning passed in a blur of customers, compliments, and whispered corrections from her. I moved gracefully, speaking softly, adjusting every tilt of my head, every sway of my hips. Each time someone admired me, my chest ached with a mix of shame and a dangerous thrill. Then it happened. A familiar voice, sharp, incredulous, cut through the hum of the store. "Is that him?" Time froze. My heart lurched. I turned slowly, eyes widening. Standing there was someone from my past, someone who had known me as a boy. Recognition flashed in their eyes, and my pulse skyrocketed. The manager appeared beside me, her hand lightly resting on my shoulder. "Stay calm," she whispered. "You are her. Perform. Obey. And nothing can touch you." I forced a smile, careful and delicate, every word and movement a practiced act. "Hello," I chirped, voice light, soft, feminine. "How can I help you today?" Their eyes narrowed, scanning me, hesitation mixing with disbelief. I can't believe it. You look exactly like." The manager stepped forward smoothly, voice confident and commanding. "She's new here. Isn't she lovely?" The words were like a shield, protecting me from the recognition. Their gaze softened, admiration mingling with confusion. I realized then, I could play this role. I could survive this moment. And more than that, I could thrive. The rest of the day was a series of tests, more customers, more compliments, more subtle recognition from others. Each interaction reinforced my transformation, stripping away the last threads of my old identity. Every approving glance, every whispered "beautiful," pushed me deeper into submission. By evening, my reflection in the mirror was flawless. Soft curves, delicate features, confident posture, and a look of undeniable femininity. I touched my cheek, tracing the outline of my painted lips, and a shiver ran down my spine. The manager stood behind me, hands on my shoulders, whispering, "See? The world notices her. And you are becoming her completely. Every glance, every word, every action, she is you now." I shivered, a mix of fear, shame, and something dangerously thrilling. I was no longer hiding. The world saw her, And in that moment I realized hiding was impossible and perhaps unnecessary. That night, as I stared at my reflection, a text appeared. I saw her today, she's breathtaking. Can't wait to meet her again. My heart skipped a beat. Someone new had noticed her. And I understood, with a chilling clarity, that my life was forever entwined with her and there was no turning back. The days following the public recognition blurred together. Each morning, I dressed carefully, every detail scrutinized by the manager, heels that accentuated my calves, skirts that emphasized curves, makeup that softened my features and transformed my expression into something undeniably feminine. Every glance in the mirror seemed to challenge me. Are you still him? Or are you truly her? It was during one of these mornings that he returned, the young man who had already seen her, already admired her. His smile was warmer now, tinged with curiosity and desire, and every glance from him sent shivers down my spine. You look amazing, he said softly, lingering on my eyes, lips, and delicate hands. I can't stop noticing you. You're perfect. I froze. His words, innocent yet laden with implication, struck me like fire. Shame, embarrassment, fear, and an undeniable thrill wove together into a storm I couldn't control. My reflection in the store window confirmed it. She stared back at me, confident, soft, beautiful, and it was impossible to deny the effect I had on him. The manager appeared beside me, her presence sudden yet commanding. See, darling, she whispered, her breath brushing my ear. He notices her. And you're learning to love it. The thrill, the attention, the desire, it's intoxicating, isn't it? I shook my head, trying to resist, trying to remind myself of the boy I had been. I can't. I shouldn't. Her hands rested lightly on my shoulders.
No, darling.
You can and you should. She is you. Every glance, every compliment, every desire directed at her, it's yours to accept. And if you resist, you'll only suffer. Submission is freedom. The hours passed in a dizzying haze of attention, compliments, and small touches that seemed innocent, yet loaded with meaning. Every word he spoke, every smile he offered, every admiring glance reinforced her, and me. By afternoon, my thoughts were a chaotic swirl, shame at how much I craved his approval, fear at how deep the transformation had gone, and a strange, illicit pleasure that both terrified and captivated me. When he finally left, the manager guided me to the mirror, tilting my chin so I couldn't look away. Do you see her? She whispered. Every desire directed at her, every word, every touch, every glance is proof that she belongs in this world. And you belong to her.
To this.
To them. To admiration, attention, and desire. I touched my cheeks, lips, and hair, trembling. Shame, fear, and longing twisted together so tightly I could barely breathe. I realized then, with a cold clarity, that the boy I had been was gone, erased by submission, attention, and desire. That night, as I lay in bed, a message appeared on my phone. She's more beautiful than I ever imagined. I need to see her again. I shivered. Someone new had seen her, and with each new admirer, with each new glance, I felt myself slipping further, deeper, into her world, into a life where the boy I had been could never return. The morning light crept through my curtains, but sleep had abandoned me long ago. My mind was a tangled web of fear, desire, shame, and anticipation. Every glance in the mirror reminded me that the boy I had been was gone, replaced by her. Every curve, every gesture, every glance from the manager or an admirer reinforced it. She was waiting in the store when I arrived, impeccably dressed as always, eyes sharp and gleaming with satisfaction. Darling, she purred, today you will see the truth. There is no turning back. She is yours. She is you. And everyone around will see it too. I swallowed hard, heart racing. No turning back. The words echoed ominously. The morning passed with rehearsed perfection, every step, every word, every glance measured and refined under her guidance. My reflection in the store windows mocked me, reminding me of the power and control she now had over me. I was hers, shaped by her hands, molded by her commands, and admired by the world as her. Then he arrived, the young man who had already admired her once. His eyes lit up as soon as he saw me. You're breathtaking," he whispered, voice almost reverent. I can't look away." My chest tightened, a shiver running down my spine. Shame, embarrassment, and a forbidden thrill coursed through me. I glanced at the manager. Her smile was sharp, approving, almost cruel. "See, darling," she whispered. "He notices. He admires. And you belong to her now. Fully. There is no escaping this." Every glance, every word, every desire reinforces her and erases him. By afternoon, the store was full. Customers, regulars, and passers-by admired her, complimented her, and sought her guidance. Every word they spoke, every smile they offered, every glance of admiration etched deeper into my psyche. I caught sight of myself in the mirror again. Soft curves, delicate features, painted lips, and confident posture. I touched my cheek and hair, trembling. The reflection stared back unyielding, undeniable. The boy I had been was a memory, distant and fading. When the manager finally stepped back, she said softly but firmly, "Darling, look at her. She is perfect. And you're hers completely. There is no turning back. Embrace it." Tears blurred my vision as I stared at the reflection. Shame, humiliation, fear, and a strange, intoxicating pleasure twisted together. I realized then, fully and irrevocably, that the boy I had been was gone.
She was me.
And she belonged to the world. That night, a new message appeared on my phone. "She's more beautiful than I could have imagined. I need to meet her again." I shivered, realizing that with every new admirer, every new glance, every word of praise, my old life slipped further away. There was no turning back. She had become my reality. The store was quiet that morning, sunlight streaming through the windows and reflecting off the polished floors. I stood behind the counter, heels clicking softly, skirt swishing with every step, makeup flawless. She was me now, every gesture, every glance, every breath perfectly feminine. The manager appeared at my side, eyes gleaming with satisfaction. "Today, darling," she whispered, "you will decide. Will you embrace her fully or cling desperately to the boy you once were?" My heart raced. Clinging to him felt impossible. Every mirror, every compliment, every admirer had chipped away at that identity. And yet, the thought of surrendering completely filled me with fear. He entered the store again, the young man who had admired her so openly. His eyes found mine instantly, a smile lighting up his face. "You're breathtaking," he whispered. My chest tightened, heat pooling, and my body responded before my mind could protest. The manager's hand rested lightly on my shoulder. "See," she murmured. "He desires her. Everyone does. And she is yours now. Embrace it." I glanced in the mirror. Her reflection stared back at me, unyielding, beautiful, perfect. The boy I had been seemed like a ghost, fading further with every passing second. Shame, humiliation, fear, and a dangerous thrill twisted together inside me. I took a deep breath, letting the heels shift my weight, letting the skirt sway, letting the voice soften. I am her," I whispered, finally accepting the truth. The words trembled, shaky and raw, but they felt like liberation. The manager smiled, approving.
"Good.
Embrace her fully. Live as her. The world will admire her, desire her, and you will find your place in her life." As he approached, eyes filled with admiration, I felt the last remnants of the boy dissolve. Every glance, every word, every touch from him, and the world reinforced her. The reflection in the mirror smiled knowingly. "You are hers. You belong." Tears welled up in my eyes, not of sadness, but of release. The humiliation, the shame, the fear, the longing, it all melted into acceptance. I was her. I belonged to her. And the world would know her. A notification blinked on my phone. She's even more stunning than I imagined. Can't wait to see her again. I shivered. Every admirer, every glance, every word confirmed it. My old life was gone. She was my reality now, and there was no turning back.